G'day guys and welcome to a preview for Rosehill on the 28th of July. What have we got? A good 4, should be a genuine good 3-4, rail in the true position. Expecting it to play on pace-ish, inside good in the run, probably getting a couple off in the straight, but it is possible that it won't be too bad on the fence. Just a traditional Rosehill good track, I think. Hard to run on, hard to come from back and wide unless there's really solid tempo on and you're sort of getting cover up. But if you want to run on, definitely closer to the fence in the run, and tracking through is the play. First race of the day for the 2-year-olds, last Saturday for the 2-year-olds. 1500 metres, and keen on a couple here. I think that Thinking Big gets control here. I think it'll lead. Sort of Nobu Laburnum fighting out that position. Doubt that anything else really wants to push forward. Single Story has come out, which takes a little bit of the value out of the race. I wasn't too keen on it, but it was a horse with a bit of upside, so it's a little bit of danger gone anyhow. I really think this horse, Thinking Big, was very good on debut. Over 1100, I believe. Worked on a fast tempo, kept going. The other day, sort of jumped in front, dragged him back into an awkward position. I think he was looking for further than 1200 there anyway, and when he was held up and sort of not allowed out until late, and battled away strongly into third, even though beaten 4.5 lengths or 4.3, his job was better than it looked. I thought he did a pretty good job there. I can see him dictating this, obviously, unless something strange happens, and really would like to see Shin try and sort of kick off the turn and just before the turn even, and make this a dash home, and he'll be hard to beat. I think he's got a good grounding to run this out and dictate from in front. The horse that's interesting is Laburnum. Winkers Go On. Was just okay first up behind Smart Melody, beaten 5 lengths. Then the other day, I thought this was a better form race. The only worry is there's a positive and a negative. The positive is that this horse was jumping from 11 to 1400. The negative is that it had every possible chance in the run, and it was a slow tempo, which it's had cover all the way. It's on the back of the winner. And just never really looks like winning late. Here it runs into the race, but it doesn't really charge through the line, which is a bit of an issue. No knock on it, like it's done a pretty good job really, considering it was 11 to 1400. I think the winner's a pretty smart horse. I think that form line, the Master Ash form line, is far stronger than basically anything else in the race. Thinking Big's obviously coming through an open 2-year-old as well, whereas horses like Inherit, Aliferous coming through maidens. Nobu hasn't broken through yet. Skyray won a provincial maiden. Salsa Man's the interesting horse. I think it is the run-on horse, Salsa Man, and $11 is fair enough. For those people who would like to chop out, I think it's probably your chop-out horse, but I'll be making Thinking Big a good result. Maybe the Cornella with Laburnum's a play as your saving option if you really want to, save, go 3 wide in a saver. I'd be throwing Salsa Man in for the third choice in the Cornella. But I think Thinking Big $5 is a big price in race 1. Race 2, interesting race. Falcon Island's obviously the interesting horse. There's 2 schools of thought here. Last time out, it's obviously run ridiculously fast time there at Wyong. Set a strong tempo and kept going. It was obviously a bit of a highway there that day where the times were pretty quick. It still stood out as an extremely fast time on the day compared to anything else. It was the only mile race on the day, which makes it a little bit more difficult to line up, but they've gone out quick and come home quick. And even though he's had that strong leader bias there, he's obviously put him away and won by 8. So the school of thought is that it took him 3 runs to get fit, and he's just getting fit, and now he's ready for 2,000 metres. If that's the case, he's highly competitive here, and his price isn't ridiculous. If he found the right race the other day and whatever happened, the stars aligned, and he's just just kept going. I don't know what happened. Then he's in trouble here because this is a race where he's probably not going to. He absolutely gifted his own way, and now he has to run an extra 400 metres in obviously a benchmark 73 as opposed to a 67 at the provincial. So interesting race. Falcon Island is the query runner. If he fails, I think Sweet Victory comes across even with 60 kilos, should run a really positive race. I wish it was drawn 8, not 9, and it could swap with Montreal Sisu, and you knew it was going to sort of drop in behind the leaders, but just hoping for a bit of luck there early for this horse to slot in behind. Hopefully Kathy gets a bit excited on Montreal Sisu early with the winkers and opens up a spot in behind, and the other horse that should slot in right behind them as well as the McAllen. 52 days between runs before it had its last start in Ruakaka. Came out here, had a trial, 28 days between runs when it ran behind Jolly Honour and Deft in a slowly run race. That should have it ready for this race. I think that's all it probably needed was a blowout to get it ready here. It's obviously never seen 2,000 metres before, but a 1,400 metre winner in New Zealand before coming over here, it looks to have a bit of quality, and while it does like to knock over a race quickly if possible with these imports, James McDonald to ride. So I think it and Sweet Victory are the two main ones if you want to have a bet. I couldn't possibly take the $3 Falcon Island, but it may put enough scare factor in the race for me to want to stay out of it. Yeah, it's just a funny little race, and there's just not enough meat in the prices of the McAllen and Sweet Victory to warrant betting up. If I was going to back one out, it'd be the McAllen. Race 3, Highway Handicap Class. Sorry, I'll bring these down so you can see the prices. This is race 3, so scratchings of 7, 8, 12, 15 at this point. Going back to here, we're looking at the speed map, and we see that Piorino probably rolls forward with Wallander. Wallander's going up in distance quite significantly, it's only going up 100 metres, so it'll roll forward. I'd like to see Buk Choy come across with them and try and find a position. Mark my word, obviously lobs in just behind them pretty naturally. Nick Anita again looks to be in an awkward spot to get a long way back, so may have to maintain that run, and Roman Typhoon also draws an awkward spot, so bit of a tricky gate for a couple of the fancies, but there does look a bit of genuine tempo with the wide runners looking to slot across. They probably do pull up mid-race, so it's going to be difficult to sort of come from a long way back, I think, but the quality does look there and a couple of runners to run on, so $2.25 Nick Anita, $5, but Piorino the leader, $5.50-ish. Roman Typhoon jumping up in distance significantly, and Buk Choy $7.50 is the one who could slot in behind there. There doesn't look a lot of depth to it. I think that mark my words, a silly price. We'll have a quick look at its last run and say why. I wish it was back a little bit more in trip. It sat outside a really fast tempo there the other day at Scone, and sort of sit here, sort of in behind the lead early, ends up outside the leader. Puts the leader away, as you'll see. Like, she just goes really early here. No idea why she chose to sort of try and put the race away that early. She could have held the horse together for a bit longer. Puts them away, and that horse that she actually put away ends up fighting back and beating it. So just didn't run the trip after having to work quite hard. You can see here it's just a shot duck late. So maybe I wish it was back 200 metres, 1400. I'd be more interested in this horse from the soft draw. But if it gets that really soft run, it does have a nice little turn of foot, that horse, and I think it's a definite player around that $16 mark or whatever it is. Roman Typhoon obviously was a pretty average ride last start and got home. Slowish tempo there and slow overall time's the problem. It was back in distance there, so it was 11 to 12 back to 11. Now drops up to 15. So the setup's not too bad from a fitness perspective, but where it gets to in the run and whether it runs the 1500 are the issues. Nick Anita obviously had the bias against last start. It was a great ride on Gatan, slotting up that inside section and coming off. This horse did have the pace in its favour, which would have negated that bias a little bit, but now we've got to try and get this horse to run 1500 metres and come from another awkward position, unless it's able to hold a spot, which is not unthinkable, but still not easy. And then it makes this horse possibly a little bit weaker at the other end. Piorino, the leader, is going quite well. Didn't mind its effort the other day, even though it was beaten by Melmera Star, who looked to go enormous. That was a slow tempo though. That's the only problem, and whether this horse has just gone off a little bit from its first 2 runs that were only okay as well. It's sort of is going up dramatically in grade, even though it looks to get the right run here. I thought Bok Choy is probably an interesting horse. Just kept coming last week, jumped from 12 to 14. I didn't think it was really ready first up. Wasn't really ready the other day, and on the 7-day back up here, could it improve significantly? Just dropping behind them, looks the horse that'll be grinding away and strong at late, which could be the right play here. Being close to the speed, grinding away and strong could be a good recipe, and does look a winning chance. I've got no confidence in this race enough to want to have a bet. Don't want to back Nick Anita at 225. I'm around Wallander. I think the winning chances are probably, or the value winning chances are Bok Choy and Mark My Word clearly, simply because I hope that Bok Choy sort of slots in across with Piorino early and finds an on-pace position, and Mark My Word will naturally find the fence from gate 1 and just needs a bit of luck at the right end of the draw to be in the finish. So value runners there, but no real confidence. Race 4, 2,000 metre race. Couple of schools of thought here. I know that have a look at the betting first. What's interesting here is the significant move for Rakik, who's gone from $6 to $3. 320s around. Obviously, it was going to run Wednesday, and you got sort of that sort of price, 5 to 2ish about the Wednesday race, which looked significantly easier than this. There does look to be a couple of quality types up the top. I thought Rakik had his chance the other day, and I don't think that race was. I think this race is deeper from a strength perspective, and that's probably why I'm going to be around Rakik and Vaucluse Bay. I thought Vaucluse Bay did enough there to say it's probably going to beat Rakik home again here. I think Rakik probably needs another 400 metres or so and a run under its belt to be justifying its price that it is today. I think its stablemates Karsov and Vaucluse Bay have its measure, and this horse Just Shine probably does too. Just have a look at the replay there. This was 119 days between runs, and it had 2 trials. This is Karsov on a heavy track. So the beauty of this is it's had 21 days to recover, which is definitely important considering that the Tarsis horse put off. So it's been put up there. So it's raced in front of Just Shine, who'd had a run, who'd had 1 run only. So still a good effort. Raced forward, obviously finds a nice position here. This is Karsov, this is Just Shine. That was Vaucluse Bay out wider, but obviously didn't handle the soft going. So we see Just Shine gets to the faster lane. Eventually gets to the outside, takes a bit longer to wind up. You can see Karsov is still travelling ridiculously well here and actually shows a significant turn of foot. Nearly you would expect to put the race away here, but Just Shine gets to the better part of the track out wide, had the run under its belt, and really does look a nice horse that winds through its gears. This is Curra coming down the outside, who did win midweek after this, after having things against it. So there is some form out of this race. They did run good time. There's plenty to like about that race. There's plenty to like about 21 days between runs for both of those horses, Just Shine and Karsov. And there's not much I can find to knock these horses. They both draw perfectly. They both seem to have as strong a dry fat track form as they do wet track form. And they both should be improved off that even further. So there's hard to really state a case for others to beat that race behind it, and apart from Vaucluse Bay, who obviously has come out and put in a strong effort since and has won over 2,000, which is a great setup for this. So I think they're the 3 main winning hopes. The one down the bottom is the knockout, I think, in Screamer, who really had to buffet his way clear of that pocket. Now looks to be fit. 14-13, had a break there, 21 days. 15, 2,000, he's perfectly set up now to do his absolute best. He's drawn horrifically. He's got a bit of a in and out jockey on him, but he's the value at, I think, 20 to 1. Let's just have a look. 20 to 1, $20, $18 around. I think this is 750s luxury odds. $5 I think is a big price as well. For those who love to save, $7 Vaucluse Bay to cover your bases. $21 I'm betting around Rakik. Race 5. the more I look at this race, the more it absolutely drives me insane. I won't even spend too much time on it. I'll go top to bottom, but talk about the two main chances, I think, first in Nicolance and Tip Top. We'll notice one's second up from a long spell, the other one's second up and has Jamie Jr. on it from an inside draw. We'll get back. So we've got a bit of a nightmare here. Let's have a look at the race itself. Wide draws. I don't think Powerline will especially push forward. I think that's old school speed from his last life. I don't know whether Condor Heroes will push forward. I don't know if it's Salerno, difficult to get. Piracy. These are all query runners where they're going to push forward. The whole speed and race has query. The beauty of Nicolance and Tip Top's draw is they should get a look at everyone, but they could end up well back off a slow tempo. It's possible. They could go quick. This is a nightmare of a race. Powerline has trialled well since the first up run and didn't think it was an absolute hopeless chance in the race. Piracy's resuming 154 days off. It's had 4 trials, which is highly unlikely for this, highly unusual for this stable over two months, which is again unusual. Nicolance resumed from a 553-day break last start and was a good effort. Tip Top probably should have near won that last start in the same race when it went back to the inside instead of coming to the outside. Just couldn't get to the best part of the track. Hard to knock him at all, this horse. He's very consistent. The riders that worry and the inside draw. Condor Heroes, you'll look at his form. He's first up for 336 days. Second to Khan on debut when looking home. Then it came out and won a maiden at Warwick Farm before running second after missing the kick and getting back into Group 3, beating home Sheikah, running second to Property, then went out and came back and sat outside the leader, beaten 5 lengths by Pariah in a Group 3. So he's running some good high-grade races. He's obviously one of the slipper favourites early in his career. He won his first trial by 9.7. He's a hard horse to line up. He's a hard horse to control. He's a nightmare for any sort of punter, and he's a nightmare for this race. If I had to make a decision, I'd be against him. I definitely couldn't back him at his sort of 5-2 price. But there's not much in this race you could back. Argent Dog gets back. Didn't get the greatest ride last start, but bobbed and won. This is definitely harder. But we'll get back and run on again. Difficult to get. I don't think it's really at his best. 28 days, or her best. 28 days between runs. And, you know, I just can't see it working from that wide draw and winning. Way to go, 999 days between runs. Just have to put a line through it. Stevens racing well. His efforts have been good in winning. They've had true merit in them. The times have been just average, and this is a huge step up with the apprentice rider from that area coming to town, which is a big query as well, and the bottom two aren't going well enough. I think Tip Top and Nicolance are the two horses that can improve. Piracy's a query runner. Powerline can improve significantly. The horse I want to bet around's Condor Heroes, but if it does show up in its best manners and form, they won't see which way it went. So it's a nightmare of a race, but as I was sort of saying, I think $6.50 and $7 for Nicolance Tip Top's fair enough, and you may get better tomorrow. It's possible they could really step into Condor Heroes. Race 6 is a race that I could not get a handle on at all. Any scratchings? Let's have a look. Amanito, Mr. Houseman have come out. Main speed does look to be these two runners in foreign territory, and You Make Me Smile with the blinkers going up and stepping up in distance. Excelsior will try and come across from a wide gate. Betting's pretty irrelevant here because the race is so open. I just really can't find anything in the race that I want. So you've got these two coming across. Excelsior coming across. Ground break hopeful, maybe Surgeon. It goes back sometimes, forward sometimes. Caecilius showed speed last time in a weaker race. Military Academy steps up in distance significantly, and it could easily show enough speed to be anywhere it likes. Snitzel Day's the horse, the only horse I really want to talk about. I just got a feeling this horse is going better than it suggests. The only worry is it's going back up in distance. I liked it at that 1200, but probably this is as far as it can get. The 14, I don't think it wants any further, and can run a race here. Excelsior went really well first up. I think I'm going to sneeze. Pardon me. The joys of being sick. Parade ran well first up. Excelsior ran well first up. Obviously a bit different in pattern. Excelsior rolls forward. Parade's going to get back again. Does get Bowman. 200 metres, it jumps in distance. It's going to face a tough task, and it's not a horse that I could back with any real confidence, but I could definitely see it winning the race. Foreign Territory, sorry, is on pace at 31 days between runs. It's trialled well since. Probably leads and runs a race, but another horse that I can't be too excited about. You Make Me Smile's a horse I love, but really think it needs a gelding and a spell. I'm very surprised to see him throwing it up in distance and putting blinkers on it. I'm not sure what's going to happen here, especially with the same rider aboard. Anything's possible. It's Sparky Lad obviously won last start, coming from back in the field, drops in distance slightly. This does look a little bit deeper race, but who knows? It's just such a horror. I've got no idea. I think Snitzeldale will get out. I think Gate 1 will suit it. I think he can run a race, but no confidence at all. Speaking of no confidence, I think I've marked this right. 650 the field. For me, $4 in Invincible is probably, it's the horse I got marked favourite. Obviously 650. I've got it not $4. Gate 1, ready to win, fitness base there, ready to go, but where will it get to from the gate, and will it get the luck it needs? It's obviously a big field, and it definitely won't be leading. It could be behind the leader. It's more likely to be sort of 3 back the fence. If anything crosses it early, obviously, or if there's any pressure, Flow could easily cross it, but may not want to. It's just drawn an awkward little spot, and will need luck. You usually get it at Rosehill, but geez, it's hard to rely on, especially in this grade. There are horses that can improve. High Flyer went quite well its first up run. Obviously gets the blinkers applied here, and I do prefer it from an outside draw than an inside. It can improve. Test of Shadow can improve. 25 to 1's well and truly value from a softer draw. Key rider changed there. Leopard obviously knocked off Dream Force, who would be short price favourite again in this race, but draws 12 this time and will need a similar ride, similar luck to win. Shower Stars first up, trialling well, but this is difficult first up. Mighty Lucky's a horse I'd love to win for the cows, with the loss of Fred there a couple of weeks ago. He's a horse that has the ability, but as is their normal go, they love putting strange riders aboard, and this horse doesn't really look a horse that'll suit Jamie Innes, but let's hope it runs well for them. Special Missile certainly doesn't look to be at his best, struggling to put a race away this time in, and he'll probably just whack away again and be vulnerable late. So Bacchus is a horse that needs all the luck. Flow is a certain horse that can run well here, back to 53 kilos, an inside draw, looks to trail the speed or do whatever it really wants to do. It can race handy, it can lead, it can do whatever it likes from that gate. And the bottom horse, South Sonic, is one hell of a query runner. 3 trials, so should be ready to go here first up. 1500's obviously a long way to go first up, but this horse is capable and can run well fresh. Lottery race for mine, I think High Flyer's got a chance. Test of Shadows value. Invincible certainly probably the horse to beat, but well and truly found in the market. I do think that Flow and South Sonic down the bottom are also winning chances. It's a tough race, and want to go wide if you're playing quaddies or anything. Definitely won't be betting in that race. Race 8. Ooh, doesn't get any easier. Let's have a look at the map for race 8 first, because that's probably the most important thing. The interesting thing I think here is that you would expect Star of Monsoon to get across these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 runners that are inside him, which is huge for his chances. I think he has to cross these horses in order to have his best chance to win, and he will need luck even if he does cross them. Best Guess is the horse I like. It's got blinkers on and it's drawn outside Iceridge, who obviously is going to show speed. Top Striker possibly suspects, never know with an offer he's been used. He probably goes back again here waiting for another day. I think the 2 horses that are likely to get the right runs, considering the gates, are Star of Monsoon and Best Guess. I think they're the 2 hardest horses to beat. They're both set up to run well at the distance today and have a lot of things in their favour. It's not a race that they're going to win without favours, I don't think, because there are plenty of chances in the race of horses that could be strong late. So we've got horses like Suchet's first up. It's a very difficult task for it. Albuman's going to get back here, and it's a horse I want to risk today. Goodfella's a horse that can certainly improve significantly from a softer draw. It can be sort of the next pair back behind the leaders this time rather than where he was last time and didn't have a lot of luck there either. I think Wellsprung's going to get well back, and Ridden Cole can improve at big odds, but not a horse I'm that excited about. Insensate obviously went great first up. He'll be jagged out the back and ridden for luck again. I thought Eusebio's not racing at his best. 42 days between runs is really weird. Not keen to find him, but not surprised if he wins, which is exactly the same comment for Top Striker. He looks drawn the right spot to get into that momentum position outside the leader that he loves to find. Just a matter of whether he can hold a few of these off late. Drakenfels can't have with this rider aboard. Sort of got it fired up last start and then ran off the track on it, and just not the right rider for this horse, I don't think. Star of Monsoon, we've talked about, well and truly one of the hardest to beat, but very short. Even though it does look to get the right run, it does look a little bit of a testy position. And I just want to check something, sorry, on another screen, because I didn't know Lee Megorian was on Best Guess. I must have been looking at the wrong thing, and I thought that Karen McAvoy was on Best Guess, and I've not seen Lee Megorian on it. So I'm going mental. Big difference to what I'll be doing tomorrow, most likely. I think Best Guess, if it had Karen McAvoy on it and found a challenging position, certainly was ready to win. You saw that James McDonald last start on it was quite positive about its chances and rode it quite confidently early in the straight. Obviously didn't give him as much as he liked, but obviously it was also 11 to 1300 on a heavy track there. Has wet form, but better form on dry. Now comes back to 1200 metres. Obviously drops 3.5 kilos as well, and really does look well set up back to this track where he's a winner. I really think he runs well here, and I think $14 is extremely good odds, even with Lee Megorian. I would obviously rather Karen McAvoy, who I was a little bit excited about, but I've obviously looked at the wrong runner. Have to adjust the prices, but I will do that. Best Guess from Star Monsoon here. A host of chances as knockout hopes if it doesn't go like I think it will, but I do think they will get the right runs on speed. Lucky last, and a most difficult race to finish. Loving it. I really don't have a strong opinion here other than to say that there does look good speed. It's drawn wide. We've got Zonk, Sweet Scandal and Brook Magic likely to come across. Aurea trying to slot in behind with all of these horses, Envy of All, and So It Goes. Then probably upscale. Vienna Romance, I think, will probably be outpaced, and these others will go back. And So It Goes finds a position to improve. I think Envy of All finds a solid position to run extremely well. Upscale's obviously nearly ready to go now too. So I think Upscale and Envy of All run well. Smarter Willie resumed with a lovely win there the other day. It gets well back if they go too quick. He can be a closer. As I mentioned, and So It Goes probably has to. I would prefer it at 1100 metres and back in grade, but he draws the right gate it needs to run positively here. Zonk's knocking on the door, but just not winning. Sweet Scandal beat Zonk last start. They reversed the barriers this time, which could easily reverse the results if they sort of come across together early. Bella Success looked a little unlucky last start, but it's that sort of horse. Needs a lot of luck and will get back again. Aurea's will find the right position to win the race, just doesn't have that turn of foot to put a race away, but will be there for a long way. I think you've sort of got to look with the class at the top of the weights here and say Envy of All and Upscale will be hard to beat. I think, and So It Goes as a bit of a roughie at 20 to 1 and can run well. And then you've got very evenly graded horses. It's a race that anything can win, I believe, but I do think there's a bit of a class edge to the top two runners that do look to get the right runs and are set up well enough to run well close to their peak. A couple of races at Gosford I'll go through as well in the preview in the morning, and any updates or anything worthwhile I'll come back with then. Cheers guys.